On behalf of the entire staff of Beech Ridge Motor Speedway and the Cusack family, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Maine's oldest continually operating family-owned speedway. My name is Bruce Elder, your race commentator, and tonight it's the Labor Day Classic, sponsored by Seavey's Fine Furniture and Appliance of Wyndham and Scarborough. Nice to have the folks from Seavey's back with us, a yearly sponsor here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. But right now, as you can see, out of the pit area onto the speedway is the first qualifying heat for the Limited Sportsman Division. On the pole, the number 87 is driven by Steve Perry, and to his outside, the number 6 is driven by Billy Thompson. Second on the inside, the number 90 is driven by Rusty Shaw. To his outside, the 60 is driven by Lloyd Washburn. First qualifying heat, 12 cars to qualify. Assistant starter Junior Niles on the stand, giving the drivers the all-clear signal. Look for a start at turn 4 at the white stripe. Once again, Steve Perry behind the wheel of the number 87. Billy Thompson behind the wheel of the number 6. Starter asked them to pick it up just a little bit. Green flag is out. Cars get wide out of the 4-turn down the front stretch. Perry with the lead. Right off the pole, followed at his back bumper is Billy Thompson in the number 6. Then comes Rusty Shaw in the number 90 as the top 3 break away from the pack just a little bit. Dennis Quinn in a side-by-side battle with Lloyd Washburn. Washburn gets a little wide. Russ Johnson coming up the inside, battling to take that 5th spot. Out of shape is Trent Smith. Spins into the 1-turn into the infield. And all the drivers get out and around the dust, and the flagman will make a decision on a yellow or stay under green. We stay under green as the 66 is able to stay underway. Continues to be Steve Perry in the 87, Billy Thompson in the number 6, Dennis Quinn in the 06. Then comes the number 90 of Rusty Shaw, and in 5th position, the 34 of Russ Johnson. Dennis Quinn closes it up just a little bit to the rear bumper of the number 6 of Billy Thompson. Looks to the outside of the number 6, out of the 4-turn and down the front stretch. Side-by-side battle shaping up for the 5th spot as Russ Johnson works out and around the number 90 and takes the 4th spot. Remember, only 12 cars to qualify. The rest will have to do it in a consolation event. Trent Smith experiencing some difficulty as he takes the 66 way out over the stripe, and undoubtedly that hard hit into the sand banking there has perhaps put the front end out of shape. It looks like Chuck Haynes is the last qualifier right now in the number 68. 15-lap qualifier. The car is completing lap number 7. Continues to be Steve Perry showing the way in the number 87. Then Billy Thompson in the 6, Dennis Quinn in the 06, Russ Johnson in the 34, and they put some distance on the rest of the pack. They're approaching the halfway mark. Spin by the 19 of Phil Weeks. He gets it back underway, and we stay under green. Chuck Haynes still managing to hang on to that last qualifying spot. Gendron now appears to be the last qualifier in the number 12. The 100 of John McMullen and the 55 of Mark Bernier get together in the 4-turn, and that scatters the cars. Mike Roberts also spins the 63. All the cars underway, so we stay under green. Leader continues to be the 87 of Steve Perry. Billy Thompson in the number 6 is the second place car. Then comes Dennis Quinn in the 06 right at his back bumper. Russ Johnson in the 34 and Phil Weber in the number 79. Top 5. 2 to go as they cross the stripe this time. White flag, 1 lap to go. Continues to be Steve Perry with a strong run in the number 87. Cars working the last lap. And a scramble for those last qualifying positions. Checkered flag in the air, and heat number 1 goes to Steve Perry in the 87. Billy Thompson in the number 6. Dennis Quinn in the 06. Russ Johnson and Phil Weber. Fine run by Steve Perry out of Portland, Maine. As Steve Perry coasts down to collect the colors and a picture, let's have a nice round of applause for the winner of heat number 1 out of Portland, Maine. It's Steve Perry. The 87 is sponsored by Bry's Varieteria and Blastum Paintball Supply. Flagman Eddie Welch on the stand for the first qualifier for the late model sportsman gives the drivers the all clear as they glance across, moving down the backstretch. And we look for a start at turn 4. Jay Johnson, Kerry Winslow on the front line, bringing down the late model. Screen is out. Down into the 1 turn, Jay Johnson with the advantage in the number 19. Then comes a side-by-side battle. Gary Pulsifer up the inside, Kerry Winslow to the outside. Late model's a little squirrely out of the 4 turn as Kenny Lund gets out of shape a little bit. Bobby Babb has to take it way wide. Does a nice job of bringing the car right back in. Meanwhile, up front, Jay Johnson has put some distance on the second place competitor, Gary Pulsifer out of Gray, Maine. Kenny Lund takes the number 1 on the pit road at turn 2. Drivers trying to close it up once again on race leader Jay Johnson. Veteran driver out of West Buxton is Jay Johnson. They'll be approaching the halfway point of this 10-lap qualifying heat. Gary Pulsifer, a veteran in the number 27 out of Gray, Maine, has closed it up to the back bumper of the number 19 as they see the cross-checkered flags, 5 down and 5 to go. Then in third place comes a rookie in the late model sportsman division, Al Bursett in the Eagle Racing Team number 17. Kerry Winslow out of Limerick, Maine in the 49, and Andy Lude in the number 56. Bobby Babb experiencing mechanical problems in the number 4 as he is way off the pace, slows the car way down, evidently trying to sort out whatever the problem is, and will take another lap or so to try to determine just what the difficulty is in the number 4. Meanwhile, the 27 of Gary Pulsifer with a fine move in turn 2 has taken over the point. Jay Johnson seems to back right out of it as the 17 comes right to his back bumper. Possibly a tire going down or something has gone amiss in the number 19 as he has had to slow right off the pace. And the rest of the drivers work their way around the number 19. Tough break for Jay Johnson. Cars under the white flag. Gary Pulsifer showing the way in the number 27. Then comes Al Bursett, Kerry Winslow, and the 56 of Andy Lude. Checkered flag is out. Heat number 1 in the late model division goes to Gary Pulsifer, followed by Al Burset, Kerry Winslow, Andy Lude, and the 19 of Jay Johnson. So a nice round of applause for Gary Pulsifer, winner of heat number 1 in the late model division. Car is sponsored by The Body Shop and GNR Automotive. The number 80 is driven by Scott Watts out of Seabrook, New Hampshire. The number 5 is Pete Rondo on a Saco pass. Number 7 scheduled to be in this lineup by Brad Lake. Flagman Eddie Walsh looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Jimmy Emerson from the outside pole position jumps into a quick lead. Working the outside now also Scott Watts, hard charger out of Seabrook, New Hampshire, behind the wheel of the F80, as he is trying to set himself up for a run at the number 90 of Kevin Tobias. Gets up side by side with Tobias at turn 2. On the move is the F80 of Scott Watts. Watts always a hard charger. Pete Rondo also on the move, looks to the outside of the rookie in the number 90. Very, very competitive division here in the modifieds. 10 different winners of feature events so far in the 1990 season. Number 90 experiencing some handling problems between the 1 and 2 turn. Does a nice job of collecting that up and keeping it straight out of the 2 turn. As Dave Lamprin looking to the outside now. They'll be approaching the halfway mark as they cross the stripe. It will be 5 down and 5 to go for leader Jimmy Emerson. Scott Watts trying to reel in the 24 of Emerson. Right at the back bumper of the number 24 now, and looking to the outside is Scott Watts as he sets the car into the second groove. They work lap number 7. It will be 2 to go next time by. Jimmy Emerson out of Windham, Maine, driving the Glance, prepared number 24, sees 2 to go this time by. Scott Watts knows that he has just 2 more chances to find a way around the number 24 and pick up the qualifying heat. He comes right to the back bumper of the 24 as they race the backstretch to the 3 turn. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Pete Rondo trying to close it in with the number 5 to the back bumper of the Watts machine. Checkered flag flies for Jimmy Emerson as he collects the first qualifying heat for the modified division. Has already collected a feature event this year. Car is sponsored by Ron's Auto Sales and Sebago Technics. Nice round of applause for Jimmy Emerson collecting heat number 1 in the modified division. Definitely a car to keep your eye on in the main event. Flagman Eddie Walsh looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Gordon Nelson gets the jump with a slight advantage as they race the front stretch to turn 1, but Richard Olin is right back to make it a side-by-side battle at the 2 turn. Once again, Gordon Nelson at the end of the backstretch. Richard Olin trying to fight back on the inside, but so far the leader is Nelson in the 161. Side-by-side battle right back through the pack as the 69 fights back on the inside. Here comes Nelson again to take over the point. Steve Winslow on the move on the outside as he now shapes a challenge to the outside of the 72 of Markfield. And it's a side-by-side battle for third. Richard Olin out of shape in the 69, does a nice job of holding the car, but that opens up the inside for Markfield, and he takes advantage of it looking to take over second spot in the 72 is Mark Field. Steve Winslow now trying to take over third as he works beneath the 69 of Richard Olin. He's followed by Ron Smith in the number 49. Once again, only 12 cars to qualify for the main event. The High Point men are in the back of the pack. Keep your eyes on some of those cars as they try to get up into a qualifying position. Brad Layton working 3 wide in the number 2. Trying to make his way up to at least the 12th spot. And he has passed a lot of cars already. Still working 3 wide down the backstretch. Keep your eyes on the number 2 of Layton. Definitely the car on the move from the back of the pack. The High Point men, the top 6 or 8 cars, always have to battle to get up to the qualifying top 12. 14 of Chris Rule appears to be the last qualified car right now. But he has the 2 of Layton now working to the outside, and he has the 78 of Fecto right at his back bumper. Continues to be Gordon Nelson showing the way in the 161. Mark Field right at his back bumper in the 72. Steve Winslow in 3rd place. Ron Smith is in 4th. And Mike Field. Spin in the 3 and 4 turn. Looks like the 44 of Terry Brown will bring out the yellow flag as he was unable to fire the car before the caution flag came out. And the lineup will revert back to the last lap run under the green flag. 7 laps down. But right now, flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear, and we're ready to look for a restart of this second qualifying heat for the limited sportsman division. Gordon Nelson on the inside, looking to reestablish the lead that he had. Mark Field in the 72 will be working to his outside. Flagman Eddie Walsh says all clear, let's go. Side by side, slight advantage to Mark Field as they raced across the stripe, but Gordon Nelson is right back in the 1 and 2 turn to reestablish himself as the leader. On the move on the outside, the 49 of Ron Smith. In a side-by-side battle with Steve Winslow, they're at the halfway mark. 8 down and 7 to go. Mike Field tangles in the 1 turn, gets straightened back out again. Several cars collected up, and it looks like the 69 of Richard Olin is left sitting at the exit of the infield pit road. And in the meantime, the 72 of Mark Field has taken over the point as he gets below the 161 of Gordon Nelson. Look at the number 2 of Brad Layton, but the yellow flag comes out as Layton is now challenging to work his way into the top 5. It will be back to a restart once again, based on the last lap run under the green flag. Ready to restart the second qualifying heat once again. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear. 9 laps completed. This time the 72 to the inside, the 161 to the outside. Green is out. Gordon Nelson with a slight advantage as they race the front stretch to the 1 turn. The 72 is right back on the inside. Side-by-side battle out of the 2 turn. As they race to the 3 turn, the cars are side-by-side once again. Out of the 4 turn, looking down the front stretch, advantage to the 72 of Mark Field. Steve Winslow challenges now for that second spot as he works beneath the 161 of Gordon Nelson. Beaver Norton looking for racing room in the number 38 sits in 4th place. Then Brad Layton is all the way up to 5th. High Point man Brad Layton in the number 2 has come all the way from the very last position to now sit in 5th place. Looks like the last qualifier is the 86 of Robbie Herrick. Of course that can change. 12 cars to qualify. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates it'll be 2 to go next time by. Mark Field has worked his way out to a rather comfortable lead, but Layton now has battled his way up into 3rd place. Layton momentarily boxed in as he's at the rear bumper of the number 10 of Winslow. He has the 38 of Norton to his outside. Has to back out of it just a little bit. Going to set the car to the outside as they come under the white flag. 1 lap to go. Brad Layton continuing his march to the front as he now looks to the outside of the second place competitor, the number 10 of Steve Winslow. Puts the car to the outside, takes over the second spot as he races the 3-turn. Checkered flag in the air. Second heat goes to the number 72 of Mark Field. Brad Layton to second. Winslow in third. Beaver Norton fourth. And it looked like 5th place to the number 14 of Chris Rule, unofficially. A nice round of applause for the winner of qualifying heat number 2 in the limited sportsman division, Mark Field out of Buxton, Maine. Strong competitor, looking for what may be his night here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. Green is out. Right from the pole, it is Joe Bowser showing the way in the number 32. Glenn Cusack in a side-by-side battle as he works to the outside of Bobby Harrison in the 37. Harrison has his hands on the second place. Mike Johnson right up the inside now to fill that 3rd spot. Here comes Mike Mayetta up the inside to take over 4th. As the cars jockey for position. Cusack trying to find a way into that inside groove and has not been able to do it yet. Inside groove working just a little better, and that line has been able to work their way right up. Joe Bowser continues to show the way. The Futura Stone, Lisa's Pizza sponsored number 32. Mike Johnson sets the number 33 into the outside groove to give that a try. Johnson is the defending champion here of the late model sportsman division. They will be at the halfway mark next time by. Bobby Randall way off the pace in the number 91. Jeff Stevens just being given a chance to try his car a little bit. He's taking it back onto pit road. Continues to be Joe Bowser, Bobby Harrison. Now a side-by-side battle for 3rd. Mike Mayetta to the inside, Mike Johnson to the outside. Johnson gets a good bite in the 3 and 4 turn, gets the car a little sideways coming out of the 4 turn, brings it right back again to the outside of the number 13 of Mayetta. Has to get out of it a little bit in the 2 turn, and that opens up the inside for Ricky Harrison. Several brothers competing here at the Speedway. In the 37 is Bobby Harrison, and the 85 is Ricky Harrison. Ricky Harrison is the current point leader. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Mike Mayetta now elects to set the 13 into the outside groove, and he dives to the outside of the 37, checkered flag lap. Strong move by Mayetta, but the 32 of Bowser holds on to the point. Let's have a round of applause for Joe Bowser in the number 32, winner of the 2nd qualifying heat in the late model division. Flagman Eddie Walsh on the stand looking for a start at turn 4. Green comes out, but it looks like it'll be a false start as the yellow flag is raised in the air. Ready to try it once again. Gary Drew and Bobby Gahan will bring the 2nd qualifying heat down to turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh points to the 4 turn. Green goes out. Gary Drew right off the inside pole position. Gahan working to the outside of Tommy Oliver. Oliver trying to fill that inside groove. Side by side, they battle for second and third. Tommy Oliver from the inside gets the advantage. Then comes Willie Elliott in the number 1, also working to the inside of Gahan. Elliott looks under the number 29 now, couldn't quite do it. Meanwhile, up front, Gary Drew with the advantage. Gary Drew with a comfortable lead. Then comes Tommy Oliver, Willie Elliott, Mike Mayetta up into 4th, and David Pinkham in 5th position. Pinkham will look to set the car in the outside groove, see if he can make that work. As the owners and crews continue to work with these modifieds, trying some chassis adjustments. Continue to work with the carburation of the modifieds. Drew turning the track in about 15 seconds flat. Able to maintain a rather comfortable lead. They'll be looking at 2 laps to go next time by. Drew continues a steady run at about 15 seconds flat. We'll see the white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Tommy Oliver continues to hold off hard-charging Willie Elliott. Then comes Mike Mayetta, Bobby Gahan, and David Pinkham. Checkered flag in the air now for Gary Drew, who collects the second qualifying heat in the modified division. Gary Drew making his return to racing here about halfway through the season. This year driving the Pete Peterson prepared 88 Troyer Cavalier, sponsored by Drew Excavating. Robinette Electric. Let's have a nice round of applause for the winner of the second qualifying heat in the modified division, Gary Drew out of Raymond, Maine. Definitely a young man to keep your eye on in the main event coming up a little bit later on. Looking for a start at turn 4, assistant starter Junior Niles. Green is out. Paul Driscoll gets the jump. Then it's a 3 abreast battle for second. The 77 of Ricky Libby comes out in second place. Spin in the middle of the backstretch. Cars scatter. A wheel off a car. That will definitely put the cars under a yellow flag or red flag, as the backstretch is just littered with cars. Flagman elects to put the cars under red flag, giving the safety crew a chance to immediately get to those cars and check on the drivers. Safety men are in radio communication with the tower. Cars involved are the 08, the 52. Looks like the 74 are also involved. Several of the drivers already out of their cars. Pace car will make its way on an infield pit road. Assistant starter Junior Niles ready to look for a start at turn 4. Paul Driscoll on the pole, liberty to the outside. Green is out. Paul Driscoll back to the lead that he had prior to the restart. Then comes Rodney Hughes right up the inside to take over second. The 99 of Jim Colbert Jr. on the move, working his way up into third. Mike Grant in the number 9 also on the move up the inside. Rodney Moody in the 08 as the inside row gets the advantage and moves right up the inside. Kevin Buck now trying to take over 5th position as he looks to the inside of the 08 of Moody. Couldn't quite do it that time. Leader continues to be Paul Driscoll. Kevin Buck trying to work his way to the front. Finds himself boxed in behind the number 9. Has the 08 to the outside. Rodney Moody battling back on the outside in the 08. Trying to find a way back by the 25. Couldn't quite get the advantage. '82 tonight being driven by Dwight Shepard. He now looks to the outside of the 25 of Kevin Buck, but Buck dives to the inside of the number 9 of Grant in the 3 turn. Shepard gets together with the 9 of Grant. All the cars get separated and keep moving. '99 of Jim Colbert now challenges beneath the 57 of Rodney Hughes. Slight advantage to Jim Colbert as they race the 3 turn looking to the 4 turn. Rodney Hughes gets a little high. Kevin Buck working up the inside. Dwight Shepard on the move in the 82. They are at the halfway point, indicates assistant starter Niles. Continues to be a comfortable lead for Paul Driscoll. Then comes the 99 of Jim Colbert Jr., the 25 of Kevin Buck, the 57 of Rodney Hughes, and the 82 of Dwight Shepard. Shepard, a veteran driver here at the Speedway for many, many years, but has kind of taken some time off and been away from it. Gets back behind the wheel tonight and is making a strong run here in this semi-feature. Looks now to the outside of the 57 of Rodney Hughes. Hughes was a semi-feature winner just a few weeks ago. Yellow flag is out. Shepard spins at the entrance of the pit road. Evidently some water on the track there in the 1 and 2 turn area. Pace car on the infield pit road. Driscoll and Colbert. Green flag is out. Colbert gets way wide right off the 4 turn. The 45 experiencing some mechanical difficulty. Flat right front tire evidently on the Paul Driscoll automobile. Tough break for Paul Driscoll. Kevin Buck finds himself at the point, followed by Dwight Shepard in the 82. Then comes Jim Colbert in the 99. On the move is the 83 of Steve Carrier working his way up the inside. And the 17 driven by Stephen Holbrook. They're in a side-by-side battle for 4th. Holbrook with a slight advantage in the 17 as they race to the 3 turn. Carrier momentarily boxed in as he's at the back bumper of the 99. Kevin Buck will see 2 laps to go as he rounds the 4 turn next time by. Cars come together in the 4-turn. Rodney Moody and the 0-1 of Alan Chapman. As they are looking at the last 2 laps, Rodney Moody able to get the car back underway, and we stay under green. Kevin Buck continues to hold off Dwight Shepard. White flag is out. Side-by-side battle. Steve Carrier takes over 4th, working under the 17 of Holbrook. Slower car now for Kevin Buck to deal with. Checkered flag in the air. Kevin Buck collects the semi-feature, followed by Dwight Shepard in the 82. Jim Colbert Jr. in the 99. Steve Carrier in the 83. And Steve Holbrook in the 17. Kevin Buck out of New Gloucester, Maine. Coast down to the start-finish line. Collecting the semi-feature, I believe, for the 2nd time in 1990. Driving a 81 Chevy Malibu, sponsored by A&B Car Removal, along with J&C Towing. Fine run by Kevin Buck. And in the process, collecting enough points to get himself back into the qualifying heats tomorrow night, and an opportunity to run in the main event. Only 8 cars to qualify for the main event, so you know it's going to be a battle here, because naturally all of these drivers want to make it into the main event, but only 8 of them are going to transfer to the main event. Flagman Eddie Walsh points to the 4-turn, asks the drivers to hold it even. Look for a start as they approach the stripe. Green is out. Danny Bubar in the 24 jumps into a quick lead, followed by Chuck Haynes. Robbie Herrick, side-by-side battle now. Darrell Ward and Rick Frenette. Frenette with the advantage, trying to take over 4th, and he does as they race to the 3-turn. Danny Bubar with a strong run brings the field around. Rick Frenette on the move now on the outside as he challenges to the outside of Chuck Haynes. Looks like the last qualifier is the 93 of Danny Palmer. A lot of strong running cars sitting outside of qualifying right now. Keep your eyes on the back of that pack. Many of these cars are strong runners, definitely accustomed to being in the main event. Larry Gelinas on the move in the number 37 as he works to the outside, challenging now to the outside of Chuck Haynes in the 3rd position. The 16 of Don Colbert and the 28 of Kevin Durgan, along with the 89 of Butch Buzzell. Buzzell has been the winningest driver here in this division. Still battling to get into a qualifying position. Looks like the 73 of Willie Boucher is the 8th place car. Still outside of qualifying. The 16 of Don Colbert, the 28 of Kevin Durgan, along with the 89 of Buzzell. Some of the top contenders here, they are approaching the halfway mark. 8 down and 7 to go. Continues to be a strong run by Danny Bubar in the 24, then Rick Frenette In the 54, Larry Gelinas in the 37 has covered a lot of ground now to be at the back bumper of Fournette. They've put some distance on the fourth place competitor, who was Danny Palmer in the 93. And then comes Chuck Haynes in the 68, holding down fifth place. Robbie Herrick is sixth, Darrell Ward is seventh, and Willie Boucher is eighth. So right now, the red number 73 is the last qualifying car. Kevin Durgan now working to the outside of the 64 of Verrill. Looks now to the outside of the 19 of Phil Weeks. A former champion of the limited sportsman division in the number 28. And he is definitely a driver who desperately wants to qualify for the main event. Currently sits about 3 positions outside of qualifying. Just 2 laps to go next time around. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates it will be just 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe next time. Last qualifier continues to be Willie Boucher in the 73, as they are working the last 2 laps of this race. White flag is out for leader Danny Bubar. Rick Fournette has closed it up, as has Larry Gelinas. The 28 of Durgan now knocking on the door of a qualifying position as he looks to the outside of the 73 of Willie Boucher down the backstretch. Z28, 1 position outside of qualifying. And out of the 4 turn, he is not going to do it, as the 80 and the 73 hang on to the 7th and 8th place positions. And a fine run by Danny Bubar as he collects the consolation event. And I'd like to direct your attention to trackside and Andy Cusack. Andy?
Thank you, Bruce, and good evening, everybody. I have a little special surprise for a lot of you here this evening. And in addition to that, I also have an update on the condition of a driver who a lot of you have become pretty close to in the past 30 days or so. A lot of you remember on August 4th of this year, our modified driver Lou Weatherby, who drives the modified number 3, sustained critical injuries in a crash up against this front stretch wall. We're pleased to tell you that he continues to enjoy a recovery. And ladies and gentlemen, our surprise, would you please give a nice warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, from the Maine Medical Center in Windsor, Maine, Lou Weatherby. Lou, they love you. Welcome back. Have a seat. Don't stop now. You guys loving him having back more than that, don't you? This is certainly one of the happiest days of, I think, a lot of our lives at this racetrack, Lou. It is simply fantastic, beyond what words can say, to welcome you back here. Say hello to these people. They can't wait to hear you speak.
Hello to everybody, and thank you very much for all the cards and concern and everything over the past month or so.
It's just been about 28 days now. It was August 4th. Lou came home yesterday from the Maine Medical Center. He will continue to undergo some therapy at his home, helping just with his coordination and his speech, which, of course, going through everything that he did. He's continuing to strengthen up his vocal cords. He wanted us to tell you that this evening. He wants to tell you and has said to us repeatedly what the support meant to him. Have you been over through the pit, Lou, and met some of the drivers and said hello?
Yes, I went over and saw all the race cars, and I can't wait.
Tell us, on Thursday, it looked as though they were going to release you from the Maine Medical Center. and we're in to visit you. And where's the one place you said you wanted to go when you get out of there?
Beech Ridge Thursday was kind of hard, and they changed their mind, and Friday I just couldn't stand the place any longer and packed my stuff up and told them I was leaving.
Well, we were all behind you. I think we certainly knew you were ready to come home, and you will enjoy a much quicker recovery, we're sure, at your home in Wyndham. We would like to ask your wife, Kim Weatherby, to come forward and have a seat for just a moment. Kim, come on out here. We want you to know that this lovely lady has been the backbone of Lou Weatherby for the past 28 days and for the past number of years of marriage. And Lou, you have something special for her tonight.
I want to give you this, and thank you very much.
Lou, it is simply a pleasure to have you back with us tonight. We all love you, and we've missed you very much, and it's great to have you back here. We hope to have you with us much longer. We love you very much, Lou.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Weatherby. That certainly is the happiest news we've had here in 1990. That's absolutely beautiful. Bruce Elder, we'll come back to you, finish up with our intermission, and get set for our 3 feature races.
Thank you, Andy. And I think, as you folks can probably know, I found it hard not to tell you what was coming up, but I talked with Andy and said, let's surprise everyone. And I think that we can all thank the good Lord for what I consider a miracle. All of us who were here 4 weeks ago and understand what Lou went through. And I'd like to certainly add to and second what Andy said. The support of Lou's wife, Kim, has just been fantastic. She was, of course, my assistant here in the tower, and just so pleased with a tremendous recovery, and look forward to having the Weatherbys back here with us. The 06 is driven by Dennis Quinn from Scarborough. Third on the inside, driving the number 34. He's out of Buxton, Maine. It's Russ Johnson. Third on the outside, the number 15 is Don Tapley Jr. Fourth row on the inside, driving the number 79. Out of Wyndham, Maine is Phil Weber. To his outside, driving the number 80. Is Darrell Ward. In the number 100 on the inside is John McMullen. To his outside, driving the number 12, is Tim Gendron. Next on the inside comes the number 68 of Chuck Haynes, and to his outside, the 03, driven by Steve Howard. Next on the inside, driving the number 1, out of Scarborough, Maine, is Dave Sprague. To his outside, driving the number 50, out of Limerick, is Alan Burraby. I'll remind everyone that this year I've asked you fans to help me with the command to start engines. So when we get the all clear, I'll ask you to help me. Assistant Starter Junior Niles indicates that the drivers are ready. Drivers, good luck to you all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those 4 most famous words in auto racing, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Gentlemen, start the engine. gentlemen, let's give these drivers a nice wave off as they make this lap down the front stretch. Wave your hat, your hand, your handkerchief, light your lighter if you have one. Let these limited sportsman drivers know that you're sending them on their way with your best wishes. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear as they glance across to the flag stand in readiness for the start of tonight's limited sportsman main event. Flagman Eddie Walsh points to the four-turn. Steve Perry and Billy Thompson on the front line. Slight advantage to Billy Thompson from the outside as they negotiate turns 1 and 2 and look down the backstretch. The cars are even as they approach the three-turn. Steve Perry to the inside, Billy Thompson to the outside. Side-by-side battle for the lead. They dead heated down the first lap to the start-finish line into turn 1. Again, a slight advantage to Thompson from the outside. Perry fights back on the inside. They're wheel-to-wheel down the backstretch. Dennis Quinn right at the back bumper of the 87 in the third spot. Then comes Rusty Shaw and rookie Russ Johnson in the 34. Steve Perry with the advantage as they negotiate the 1 and 2 turn. Dennis Quinn up the inside to challenge Thompson for second position. Inside is the slight advantage. And Thompson backs out of it just a little bit to move to the inside and fill the third spot. Phil Weber on the move in the 79. Phil Weber working out of the two-turn down the backstretch now looks to the outside of the number 90 of Shaw, who sits in the fourth position. Keep your eyes on those high point men working up from the back of the pack. You'll remember that Brad Layton came all the way from the back of his qualifying heat to second position. He's on the move 3 wide now down the backstretch. Keep your eyes on those high point men. It's a traffic jam into the three-turn. Cars get out of shape. A wheel off from the number 6 of Billy Thompson. Tough break for the youngster. Cars get together trying to avoid the number 6, the 24 of Danny Bubar, the 80 of Darrell Ward bring out the caution flag. Wheel is off in the right rear of the number 6 of Billy Thompson. A tough break for the youngster who was looking for a strong run tonight. Tough break for all of these competitors as mechanical failure takes the number 6 out. But right now, Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates the all clear as the cars approach the three-turn. He points to the four-turn. Looking for a start when the cars approach turn 4. Green is out. Steve Perry. Dennis Quinn now right at the back bumper, looks to the inside of Steve Perry. Dennis Quinn on the move, right up the backstretch on the inside. He's challenging side-by-side, slight advantage as they race the three-turn to the four-turn. Yellow flag is back out again. We have a car disabled, 2 cars disabled in the three-turn. And we will be back to a quick realignment. Right now, we're ready to restart this main event once again. Looking for a start in turn 4. Steve Perry once again trying to reestablish that lead that he had. Green is out. Steve Perry back into the one turn in the lead once again. Has the 06 of Dennis Quinn right at his back bumper, and here comes Phil Weber in the 79 down the backstretch. Perry gets a little wide. Dennis Quinn looks to the inside. Couldn't quite do it that time. Cars racing 3 abreast into the one turn as all those high point men desperately trying to work their way up through the pack. Cars out of shape on the backstretch. Drivers do a nice job of keeping them straight. Continues to be Steve Perry holding off Dennis Quinn. Then comes Phil Weber. They have a little distance on the 4th place competitor, Rusty Shaw in the number 90. And then Russ Johnson in the 34. The number 100 of John McMullen off the pace now. Car off over the 4 turn. Appears to be the 50 of Alan Burraby. Have to see if he's able to keep that car underway and work his way back to the pit area. Car is evidently disabled as he now tries to back the car down over the 4 turn. Car's out of shape in the 3 and 4 turn. In the 4 turn, Rusty Shaw spins. Cars tangle. The 38 of Eva Norton, the 37 of Larry Gelinas, and that brings out the caution once again. Shaping up to be a rough night for the limited sportsman. Safety men indicate that all the drivers are okay. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates the track is clear, the lineup is correct, and we're ready to go back to racing. We'll give the drivers the all clear as they all glance across to the flag stand as they work their pace lap down the backstretch. Eight laps down in this 30-lap feature event for the limited sportsman. Once again, Steve Perry working from the pole, trying to reestablish the lead. Dennis Quinn to his outside. Green flag is out. Steve Perry with a strong move off the line. Phil Weber right up the inside to challenge Dennis Quinn for second position, and they battle side by side through the 3 and 4 turn. Second place is up for grabs. Phil Weber to the inside, Dennis Quinn to the outside. Then comes Russ Johnson, the rookie in number 34. Mark Field in the 72, rounding out the top 5. Then comes Rusty Shaw. Of Tim Jenrick gets out of shape, and he does a nice job of straightening that out. High point men on the move now, trying to find a way up through this pack. Cars like the number 2 of Brad Layton. Worked his way nearly halfway through the pack. Traffic jam in the 3 turn as cars get turned about. The 54 of Rick Frenette gets turned. The 03 of Stevie Howard. And Howard sits at the entrance to the infield pit road. Evidently something on the track in the 4 turn as cars begin to slide. That will put the drivers back under yellow once again. Drivers do a nice job of avoiding those cars that evidently got loose in something that's been spilled there in the 4 turn area. only several chances remain for those drivers who have not won a feature to make it into the winners clash, again to be run on September 23rd. All the feature event winners through the season will have a special winners clash, and we'll tell you a little more about that. A $1,000 winner take all type of race. But right now we're ready to restart with 12 laps down. Once again, Steve Perry trying to reestablish himself as the leader. Green is out. Steve Perry once again with Phil Weber taking up the second spot. Dennis Quinn in the 06 battling to the inside. Weber on the move to the outside as he races to the outside of the 87 of Steve Perry. Phil Weber on the move now out of the 4-turn, looking down the front stretch, wheel to wheel to the outside of the 87. They dead heated into the 1-turn. Perry fighting back on the outside. Number 10 of Winslow out to the sand pile. The 86 of Robbie Herrick into the pit area. Yellow flag to come out once again as Perry and Weber are side by side once again at the start-finish line. Steve Winslow from Scarborough up against the sand pile over in the between the 1 and 2 turn area, bringing out the caution flag once again. Flagman Eddie Walsh is giving the all clear to the drivers as they work their last pace lap in readiness to restart with 13 laps down in this 30-lap limited sportsman main event. Phil Weber this time to the inside. Steve Perry to the outside will bring the field out. Flagman Eddie Walsh giving them the all clear once again. Green is out. Phil Weber right from the pole, followed by Dennis Quinn right up the inside, and Mark Field also up the inside as that inside groove proves to be the advantage. That puts Perry back to 4th before he can work back into the inside groove. They will be approaching the halfway mark next time by. Spin in the 1-turn once again. And this time it looks like the 111 of Pee Wee Knight maybe headed on a pit road. The 50 of Alan Burraby also headed on a pit road. Tough break for those drivers. The 111 sitting second in the point standing. But meanwhile up front, it continues to be Phil Weber. And the man on the move is the 72 of Mark Field as he works to the outside of the 06 of Dennis Quinn. Keep your eyes on the 72. He had a strong heat run, and he's trying to duplicate that here in the feature event. Mark Field moves his way up into second place, sets his sights on the 79 of Phil Weber. On the move, the number 2 once again of Brad Layton, all the way from the last position, now knocking on the door of the top 5 as he looks to the outside of the number 1 of Sprague, moves to the outside of the number 1 as they race the backstretch to the 3-turn. Keep your eyes on the number 2 of Brad Layton, now looking to the outside of the 4th place competitor Steve Perry in the 87. The number 2 of Layton, high point man here in the limited sportsman division, and definitely the car to watch, the car to beat in this division. Cars tangle in the 1-turn. The 70 of Morgan, the 93 of Danny Palmer hook up and go into the sand pile in the 2-turn, and that will bring out the caution once again. Tough break for Phil Weber as he has to take the 79 onto pit road. Smoke coming from the 79, evidently some problems that Phil Weber felt had to be taken on a pit road and be checked out by the pit crew. Definitely a tough break for the youngster from Wyndham. Flagman once again giving the drivers the all clear. Pace car will make its way onto the infield pit road, and we should be ready. Flagman does not like the looks of that start. He just lets the green flag sit out there, and a false start indicated by the yellow flag in the air. And he'll bring the drivers back to do it again. And once again, the 06 jumps the gun. And once again, it's a false start. And how many times he's able to do that is probably very much in doubt now. Because the pace setter is to be the 72 on the pole. The 72 takes the car on a pit road, a tough break for Mark Field. Officials indicate that possibly a shifter problem with the 72. Reason for the 72 going on the pit road. Feeling is that he possibly had a problem with the shifter. The 06 will be the pole setter, and Brad Layton will move into second place. Quinn this time gets to set the pace, but he finds point leader Brad Layton now sitting to his outside. Tough break for the 72 of Mark Field, as he had worked himself to the front, only to have mechanical failure put him on pit road. We'll have to wait and see if he's able to rejoin the lineup. Flagman points to the 4 turn. Dennis Quinn to the inside, Brad Layton to the outside. Bring the field down. Kind of a slow start. He says pick it up, throws the green flag. Cars even at the start-finish line as they race to the 1 turn. They are side by side out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Continues side by side into the 3 turn, look to the 4 turn. Quinn to the inside, Layton to the outside. Layton with the advantage as they race to the 1 turn. Works his way out and around the 06 of Quinn. The 78 of Dave Fecto on the move as he now looks to the outside of Dennis Quinn. Dennis Quinn is able to close it back up on the number 2 of Layton. And here comes Fecto now with a challenge to the outside. Fecto looking to the outside of the number 2 of Layton. Layton stays right down on the rail. Fecto now with the advantage to the outside as he takes over second place. He will set his sights on the number 2 of Brad Layton. Fecto was a feature winner here just a short time ago. 2 weeks ago, the number 78 was a feature winner. Gets in the same groove with the number 2. And will now wait to see if Brad Layton will possibly slip just a little bit and give him a chance to have a shot at another feature win. That doesn't happen very often with Brad Layton. The 2 and the 78 begin to put some distance on the rest of the pack. Cars come together in the 4 turn. The 54 of Frenette, the 34 of Russ Johnson. Another car spun out in the 2 turn. All the drivers do a nice job of avoiding it. That was the 24 of Danny Bubar. And they are under caution once again in what is shaping up to be a rough night for the limited sportsman. But right now, we're ready to restart once again, 25 laps down. Brad Layton now finds himself at the point. Dave Fecto to his outside. Green flag is out. Brad Layton right back into the lead. Dave Fecto, we have a spin. Looks like the 06 of Dennis Quinn. He gets it back underway. We stay under green. Lead in the hands of Layton. A lot of pressure from Dave Fecto. Then comes Dave Sprague in third. Rick Furnett in a battle now with Chris Rule for fourth place. Rick Furnett gets the car sideways out of the four-turn. Right at the back bumper of Chris Rule. It'll be 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe next time by. Brad Layton with a slight advantage over Dave Fecto. And they have put some distance on the third place competitor, Dave Sprague. Chris Rule trying to find a way around the number 1 of Sprague as he works hard to try to gain a position. Rick Furnett right back on his bumper. White flag, 1 lap to go. Brad Layton will see the checkered flag once again as he claims the Labor Day Classic, followed by Dave Fecto, Dave Sprague, Chris Rule, and Rick Furnett for the top 5. Brad Layton now ties Butch Buzzell for the most feature wins in the limited sportsman division. Layton coasts down to collect the colors, driving a 78 Pontiac Trans Am. Car is owned by Brian Layton, Layton Brothers out of Center Harbor, New Hampshire, sponsored by the New Hampton Sunoco, R&K Automotive, the Catch Basin Cleaners. Layton, with his 4th feature event of the 1990 season, continues to pad a rather healthy point lead and continues to be the man to beat in the limited sportsman division. Young man returns the colors, and we'll get an opportunity to hear from the race leader in just a few moments as we'll be going trackside.
Brad, congratulations. Welcome back into victory lane. You've said consistently you like to run the outside of the racetrack. Tonight you were kind of trapped on the inside. How'd it go?
Went all right. I much rather had run the outside, but I was worried about Dave. I thought he had something for me, but we held him off.
Was that a fun race for you? I know you and Dave Fecto are friends on and off the racetrack. How did that go?
Yeah, he couldn't have finished any better, of course, with me ahead of Dave, but I just feel glad for Dave and his crew. They've worked hard along with us, and tell you, that's an enjoyable race to race tail to nose there, as long as my tail's in front of his nose.
Our sponsor tonight is Seavey's Furniture and Appliance. Tim Seavey from the Seavey's Company has the presentation for you. Tim?
Brad, here's a little token, I guess, of real hard bunch of work tonight. How long can you run full wide around this track? How many laps?
I don't know, till my cars run out, I guess.
Congratulations, Brad.
I want to thank these guys. It really means a lot to us limited sportsmen for this little extra help. Not little, but the extra help. And it just makes us try even that much harder. I want to thank my family and all the support they give me through the season. I'll tell you, we haven't had anything handed to us. We really worked hard at it. My brother's just been doing double duty on the car, and Rick and all the guys. And I want to thank my wife for all the support, my son, and especially my main sponsor, Pete. And they were there all the way, and R&K for building the motor, doing a perfect job. And I just want to thank everybody.
We know you're behind you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Layton.
Flagman Eddie Walsh looking for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Jay Johnson. Cars tangle in the one turn. It's the 17 of Brissett, the 4 of Bobby Babb. All the cars stay underway and we stay under green, but a tough break for 6 or 7 of those late models. Jay Johnson continues to show the way, but he has 2 hot shoes at his rear bumper. The 27 of Pulsifer, the 34 of Bobby Libby. Looks like Paul Johnson has collected up part of the body panels of the number 4 of Bobby Babb, and we are under caution with just 2 laps down. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear as they race. Ready to race the 4-turn. Green is out. Bobby Babb out of the pit area to rejoin the lineup. This time a slight advantage to Pulsifer, but Jay Johnson's right back up the inside out of the 2-turn down the backstretch to retake the lead. Bobby Libby right at his back bumper in the number 34. Libby trying to take over second place, and he does as they cross the stripe. Side-by-side battle shaping up now. Bobby Harrison to the inside of the number 27 of Gary Pulsifer. Then comes Mike Johnson in the number 33. Bobby Randall coming right up the inside, as is Mike Mayetta. Mike Johnson trying to find racing room as he works to the back bumper of the 37 of Bobby Harrison. As the 27 to his outside, 27 goes a little wide. Here comes Bobby Randall up the inside. Mike Johnson, Bobby Randall continue looking for racing room. Have a car off over the 4-turn. Looks like the 98 of Carl Lattamy. Backs it down over the 4-turn. We'll have to see if he's able to get the car underway. Yellow flag comes out as the 98 is evidently unable to refire. And once again, the cars are under caution. 7 laps down. Fourth place, Phil Pinkham. Green is out. Jay Johnson manages to hold off Bobby Libby. Here comes Bobby Harrison up the inside, and Bobby Randall on the move. 3 abreast. They race the 3-turn. Bobby Libby has to back out of it just a little bit. Mike Johnson on the move as he races to the outside of the 13 of Mike Mayetta. 37 of Bobby Harrison now looking for racing room. Below the 19, couldn't quite find it. Then cars tag each other in the 2-turn. Once again, Bobby Babb out of shape into the entrance to the pit area. Jay Johnson continues to show the way with a lot of pressure. A mirror full of Bobby Harrison. Then comes Bobby Randall in the 91. The top 3 have put some distance on Mike Mayetta and Mike Johnson. They're looking to close it up. Bobby Libby still in that outside groove, trying to make up time. Got involved in that 3 abreast racing, had to back out of it and lost some time. Bobby Randall looks to the outside of the 37 just momentarily. Jay Johnson doing a nice job holding off a former champion in the 37, Bobby Harrison, and a multi-year champion in the 91, Bobby Randall. continues to withstand the pressure being applied by Bobby Harrison. Cars tighten it up now. Randall in third, Mayetta fourth, Mike Johnson fifth, and Andy Lude sixth. Laps down in this 35-lap feature event. Bobby Randall looking to the outside now. They'll be looking at the halfway point next time by. Randall sets it out in the second groove to make a try to the outside of the 37 of Harrison. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates halfway point. 18 laps down in this 35-lap feature event. Randall trying to make the move to the outside as he races the three-turn to the outside of the 37 of Bobby Harrison. Front contingent of cars have managed to break away from the rest of the pack. Randall seems to be making that outside groove work as he pulls it even with the 37 of Harrison. Now we'll look to the outside of the Jay Johnson car. Bobby Harrison just right at the back bumper of the 19, wondering if that 19 might possibly move to the outside. Johnson pulls it inside, and Bobby Randall now looks to the outside of the number 19. Bobby Randall making the outside groove work, trying to draw it even with a race leader, Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson to the inside now, Bobby Randall to the outside as they race the backstretch to the three-turn. Even at the three-turn as Randall moves up, even now out of the four-turn once again. Slight advantage to Randall as they race the front stretch. Jay Johnson right back on the inside to draw it even, but here comes Randall once again up the outside. Trying to put the car ahead of the 19. The 19 gets out of shape, takes it into the infield. Jay Johnson trying to back the car out of the infield, gets it underway. We stay under green. Bobby Randall, the new leader. Randall now dealing with the lap car of Johnson. Randall once again works his way out and around the 19 for the second time, but this time with Jay Johnson down a lap. Mike Mayetta now has to deal with the lap car of Jay Johnson. Cars in the backstretch wall, the 85 of Ricky Harrison, the 32 of Joe Bowser. Car left sitting against the wall is the 49 of Kerry Winslow. Flagman Eddie Walsh crosses the drivers over, indicates one more lap. Dust off a little bit more of that speedy dry, settle the cars into position. Flagman indicates all clear. Ready to restart with 26 laps down in this 35-lap main event for the late models. Beretta from Beech Chevrolet is on the infield pit road. Randall and Mayetta bringing the field down to turn 4. Green is out. Advantage to Randall as they race to the 1 and 2 turn. Mayetta fighting back on the outside. Cars stacked up in a column of twos right back through the pack. Randall a little out of shape, as is Mayetta. Mayetta trying to get the car down inside. Bobby Harrison takes over second spot. Mayetta back to third. Mike Johnson on the move on the outside, the number 33. Randall takes the car way out wide, and that opens up the inside for Bobby Harrison now. Cars tangle in the two-turn. The 98, the number 1, the 85 once again, and we're back to a caution once again. Flagman Eddie Walsh tightens the cars up into a column of 2, shows the drivers green this time by. And we should be ready to complete tonight's late model sportsman feature event. 28 laps down. All clear is signaled to the drivers as they move in preparation to restart, with Bobby Randall to the inside, Bobby Harrison to the outside. Randall with the advantage at the start-finish line. Everyone fighting for the inside position. Mayetta ends up with second in a side-by-side battle with Bobby Harrison. Then comes Mike Johnson in a side-by-side battle shaping up with Andy Liu and Paul Johnson. Bobby Randall now. Paul Johnson spins down into the 3-turn. The 27 off over the turn with him. One of the cars is underway. The 35 is underway. Now the second car is underway. Continues to be Bobby Randall showing the way. Mike Mayetta in second. Mike Johnson in third. Then comes Andy Liu and Bobby Harrison. Mike Johnson trying to find a way under the 13 of Mike Mayetta. Can't quite do it. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates it will be 2 to go next time by. It will be 2 laps to go this time by. Bobby Randall continues to show the way. About a car and a half length lead, but Mike Mayetta is closing that up. White flag is out. Randall goes a little wide, and Mayetta looks to the inside. Couldn't quite fill that spot. They have the 98 to deal with now. They move to the outside of the 98. Checkered flag in the air. Bobby Randall collects his first feature event of the 1990 season. Followed by Mike Mayetta, Mike Johnson, Andy Liu, and Bobby Harrison. Bobby Randall, a multi-year track champion, collects his first main event of the 1990 season as he coasts down to collect the colors. We'll take his parade lap, and then we'll have a chance to hear from tonight's main event winner in the late model division. Bob Randall out of Sanford, Maine, driving a 1990 Buick, sponsored by Astro Waste Services and High Torque Engines. Randall was a champion in 1979, 80, and 81. But this year it has taken him until September to nail down a feature event.
Bob, congratulations. A nice piece of driving out there tonight. A couple of restarts had you nervous, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, I almost blew it, but we recovered, luckily. I want to thank my crew. I'm telling you, we've been trying all year to get this thing in victory lane, and I just haven't had any luck. And tonight we've torn this car apart 3 or 4 times, changed the springs all around. When we come out with the feature, we had no idea where we was going to be, but it was close enough.
It certainly was, and the car went beautifully. Some great competition. Toby Seavey from Seavey's Furniture and Appliance has the presentation for you. Toby?
Thank you. Great job. I'd also like to mention it's a privilege for Seavey's to be associated with Beech Motor Speedway this year, and it's a first-class operation.
Toby, we appreciate it.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you very much, and I want to say for everybody that, you know, we really appreciate you guys coming out here and helping out, because if it wasn't for you guys, we'd all be home.
Bob, also tonight there's a bonus from the Big A Auto Parts Company, a $50 gift contingency for the late model sportsman winner, and that's you.
I appreciate that too. I do a lot of business with these people, and I can pay on my account with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Bob Randolph. Somebody looks rich out here tonight. Our 50-50 winner. Which one of you won this? He did. What is your name, sir?
Beretta from Pape Chevrolet on infield pit road. Green is out. Cars are even as they race to the one turn. DeBias to the inside, Emerson to the outside. Jimmy Emerson with the advantage down the backstretch to turn 3, takes over the lead. Bringing them down for lap number 1 is Jimmy Emerson, followed by DeBias in the number 90. Pete Rondo in the number 5. Sets to the outside. Jimmy Emerson opening up a lead on Kevin DeBias in the number 90. Pete Rondo continues to work to the outside of the number 90. Then comes the number 21 of Dave Lamprin, the number 80 of Scott Watts. Moving on the outside now, the number 9 of Gary Drew, racing to the outside of the 50 of Bob Gahan. Pete Rondo out of the 4-turn now, even with the number 90. Slight advantage to the number 5 as they cross the stripe, race to the 1 and 2 turn. Pete Rondo in the number 5 takes over second place as they race the 3-turn. Yellow flag comes out as they're working lap number 4. Yellow flag comes out for some debris on the track in the 1 turn. We look for a start once again in turn 4. Green is out. Jimmy Emerson once again from the inside. Then comes the 5 of Rondo. Side-by-side battle for third now with Kevin DeBias to the inside. Dave Lamprin to the outside. Gary Drew back out of the pit area. Dave Lamprin now moving to the outside of the number 90, trying to take over third place out of the 4-turn down the front stretch, and he does. Following on the outside, the number 50 of Bobby Gahan. Now working to the outside of the number 90. Gahan trying to make his way into 4th position. Tommy Oliver also in the outside groove as he works to the outside of the 61 of David Pinkham. Gahan continues that outside groove assault on the number 90. Draws it even at turn 3. Rookie Kevin DeBias up from the runner-up spot in the Limited Sportsman Division in 1989. With a very successful move to the modified division. DeBias has been a steady competitor in the modified division, and right now he has one of the veterans of the modified ranks, Bobby Gahan, working to his outside. Gahan continues to try to make the car work in the outside groove. Slight advantage now as they race to the 3-turn. DeBias fights right back on the inside. Gahan now takes the 4th position, working out and around the number 90. F80 of Scott Watts now will make his attempt to the outside. Halfway point. 13 down and 12 to go. Continues to be Jimmy Emerson, Pete Rondo, Dave Lamprin, Bobby Gahan in the side-by-side battle for 5th. that Scott Watts is going to capture that 5th position as he works his way out and around the number 90. David Pinkham now will make his attempt to the outside of the number 90 as he sets the car out in the 2nd group. Mike Mayetta looking for racing room as he's momentarily boxed in. Mayetta, the current point leader, modified ranks, and last week's feature winner. David Pinkham now draws even with the number 90 of Tobias. Cars have tightened it up considerably now. It's a bumper-to-bumper front 3 with Gahan reeling in the 3rd place car. And Scott Watts trying to close it up on Bobby Gahan. Willie Elliott in the outside groove now, and he'll make his attempt to get out and around the rookie Kevin Tobias in the number 90. They'll see 5 laps to go from Flagman Eddie Walsh. It's 20 down and 5 laps to go. Continues to be a fine run by Jimmy Emerson as he holds off Pete Rondo. Rondo now looking to possibly make a set to the outside. Looks to the outside as they race the front stretch. It will be just 2 to go next time by. Rondo is going to do it. He knows he has just 2 laps to do it as they see the 2 flags from Flagman Eddie Walsh. Jimmy Emerson to the inside. White flag in the air. Pete Rondo to the outside. Side-by-side battle shaping up for 4th spot as Scott Watts now is moving to the outside of Bobby Gahan. Checkered flag in the air. Emerson to the inside. Rondo can't quite do it. Jimmy Emerson collects feature win number 2 on the 1990 season. Youngster out of Windham, Maine, doing a fine job holding off Pete Rondo. Then comes the 21 of Dave Lamprin, the 50 of Bobby Gahan, and the F80 of Scott Watts. Feature win number 2 for Jimmy Emerson out of Windham, Maine. Driving the Jimmy Glantz prepared number 24 as he collects up the colors to make his parade lap. The car is sponsored in part by Mangino Sandwich Shop, Morals Construction, Science by Popovich, G.A. Drew Excavating. It is an 88 Cavalier. Sebago Technics also a sponsor of the number 24. And a fine run by the youngster from Windham. And also a fine run by Pete Rondo. We'll be going trackside momentarily for a chance to hear from the modified feature winner.
A second career win in the open-wheel modified division from this young man from Windham. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Emerson. Jim, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'd like to dedicate this race to my brother. He got married today, and another one. I'm glad, happy as heck to see Lou Weatherby back here. I'll tell you, I'm glad he's coming along real good. And hope he comes back and races with us, shortly.
I know it was kind of a race where you started up front, you got out there, but it wasn't easy. Pete Rondo dogged you all the way. Could you see him right there in the mirror?
Yeah, Pete was right behind me, and he tried the outside, but the car wouldn't work out there. And I knew if I kept the same pace that, it'd be a hard job to get around me. And, he never touched me once, and Pete's excellent to race with. I appreciate it.
Well, Tim Seavey from Seavey's Furniture and Appliance, which I know is a local and well-known business for you, is here with a presentation. Tim?
This seems appropriate, Jim. A guy from Wyndham and a guy from Wyndham. Congratulations, heck of a race.
Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate these sponsors that sponsor the race here. And, it means a lot to us. And I'd like to thank Jimmy Glantz for letting me drive the car, and David, my oldest brother, and Sean Potter, and Eric, and Mike. I'll tell you, they do one heck of a job with the car. The only thing I got to do is just sit back and drive it. It makes it pretty easy.
Well, you did your part of the job tonight. We congratulate you. Ladies and gentlemen, another nice round of applause for Jim Emerson. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the entire staff of Beech Ridge Motor Speedway and my family, the Cusack family, and the Seavey family, we thank you for being here with us tonight. We hope to see you tomorrow night for the Daytona Triple Crown Series final leg. Bruce Elder, back to you.
Thank you, Andy. Once, those of you who would like to stay around, you're certainly welcome in a few moments to come out on the track. And for those of you who are headed home, once again, please drive carefully. And we hope that you'll be right back here with us tomorrow night for the running of the third leg of the Daytona Triple Crown.